Kelli Dunham!
So with the third lesbian,
Second is the best.
they wanted the most lesbian looking. I won that by a little bit. I don't know about Facebook. Are you guys friends with your mom on Facebook?
No.
Wow, strong feeling. I went to Mid-America Bible College and Warner Christian Academy, and now I'm, me. And so I get friend requests from, like my people I went to Mid-America Bible College with, and I'm just like, motherfucker, if you friend me, accept. It's all your problem. So now, my friends feed is fascinating, because it'll be like, Kalita Stamper is so glad that the Lord has blessed her with 3 loving children. And then it's, Joe LeBlanc is attending the Deep Dick Collective. That is what my Facebook is like. So, So I don't really stand on stand-up comedy stages that often, on club stages. My very first time I ever performed at an open mic, I used to start my set with, I know you're not going to believe this, but I actually, if you can ignore all the visual cues, I'm actually an adult female and not a 12-year-old boy. That was what I would always start my set with. And one time, this guy yelled, "Oh, you're not a 12-year-old boy, you're a big, fat, huge dyke." True. But then, before my brain had a chance to engage, my mouth said, "You're just sad I'm not a 12-year-old boy, you and the Catholic priest." Right, which was a good comeback, except for he chased me in the parking lot with a broken bottle. As I was running away, I was like, I gotta get faster or in a more diverse crowd. Faster or more diverse crowd. And I realized more diverse crowd was probably, statistically, I was more likely to find. So now I perform. Where do I perform? I perform at women's festivals. Anyone performed at a women's festival where women go to talk about their oppression? It's a lot of fun to perform at women's festivals. I was performing, and they often don't have enough money to pay both an MC and the comic. So they're like, for example, this Sister Space. Isn't that a great name for a women's festival? Sister Space. Not even ironically. If they called it Sister Space, ironically, that would be better. But it's just Sister Space. And I was performing Sister Space. They didn't have an MC, so I had to introduce myself. So it's like, "Hi, my name is Kelli Dunham." And then you walk over here like, "Hi, I'm Kelli Dunham." And I got done performing. And the next act comes up on the stage before I got down, and she said, "Hey, Kelli, can you help me out with something?" All right, if somebody says to you, "Hey, Kelli, can you help me out with something?" on the stage, that implies like, I don't know, help me move this piano bench, or, can you take this, take my purse back off, or, no, what you wanted help with was leading everybody in a striptease. I think you have to be more specific, or perhaps I should have asked more questions. So I was just there's like music, which I couldn't really move to, and so I just kind of stood woodenly and scared on the stage while she kind of helped me take off my clothes. And I was feeling this tremendous peer pressure, so I just started doing it myself, and then people were coming on the stage to join me. And I didn't know this is an important part of striptease. You aren't just supposed to fold up your clothes and put them neatly. You're not supposed to do that. So I hear this person saying, "Kelli, you gotta throw them, you gotta throw them." So I have a lot of grace, right? So I just pick them up and make them into a ball and bring them overhand into the so sexy, so sexy. So everyone gets done stripping, everyone's throwing, and then everyone leaves the stage, but I still have to MC, so I'm scrambling around for my clothes. But remember, I threw them overhand. So all I could find was one brown sock. which I put on, because that's a really nice look. So I'm standing on stage in one brown sock, and I thought, I'll just quick do this introduction and then I'll be off. And it was like a 35-person drum group that had to set up. So for 35 minutes, I'm standing on stage in nothing but a brown sock. So I was very distracted, but the audience was actually paying quite a bit of attention. So, but I was out of material, so I just did exactly the set that I had done before, but I did it with one boob talking to the other boob. And usually at this point telling the story, I say, now really, that's the only time Knock Knock Joe should be used on stage. However, I was proved wrong by the last time. Other places I perform at Pride events. Now Pride events are fun because there's something called demonstrators. And demonstrators are kind of like hecklers, only they have the First Amendment, the police, and a megaphone on their side. So apparently this one day I performed at Philadelphia Pride, and I was standing on, and I guess it was National Yell Obvious Things Through a Megaphone Day. Because the guy's standing, 3 feet from me going, you're a dyke, you're a big huge dyke. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm a dyke, I have a mirror at home. You would think it would be smoother, right? When I perform at colleges, wouldn't you think colleges will go smoother for me? I performed at University of Delaware. And at like 8:45, it was kind of the smattering of women's studies majors, all ready to laugh at their oppression. Gig was scheduled for 9. 8:55, 61 girls in matching pink t-shirts and what looked to me like matching blonde hairstyles walked in. Awesome. Going to my gig was a sorority hazing ritual. Right? So I was like, oh my god, okay, the first part of comedy is having something in common. I'm like, okay, you guys like to get drunk? I've never even been drunk. You guys have boobs? I like to look at boobs. Okay, we've got some common ground here. So, made it through the set, okay. At the end, one of them actually came up to me and said, oh my god, we were so glad to go here because it was either this or drink beer out of each other's vaginas. I really like my comedy, but I would have actually... I'm just saying there was that possibility. So, I really feel, okay, like on the subway on the way here, there was a 1-800 number and then this big sign which says, free advice. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think ever if I live to be 150 years old, I need any more fucking free advice. Right? Unless you were raised completely away from organized religion or are an orphan, you don't need any more free advice, right? Comics, like, why are you being a comic? Why are you spending all that time at the open mics? You could be like your brother, also unemployed and living in New York. Lots of free advice. And it's everywhere. The other day I was crossing Flatbush, and I hear this guy screaming, you better get out of the way, you better get out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way. And I turned around, you know who he was talking to? A squirrel. What kind of controlling person do you have to be to give street crossing advice to an urban rodent? And I think the internet has made it worse, and they have a lot more opportunities. When I was on Penn and Teller's bullshit, and that was amazing the amount of free advice I got in email form after that. Like, for example, I didn't even know that dyke could be spelled with 7 I's. I don't have any idea. And somebody else wrote and said, you know what, you should just die. You should just die because you know what? You are a freak of nature. I was like, really? You don't know me. You don't know my family. Otherwise, you would know I'm a freak of nurture. Someone else wrote, and this one wasn't my so negative. She wrote and said, "Dear Kelly, I think you are kind of," now kind of was in all capitals. So I didn't think that she thought I was really cute. It said, "You are kind of cute. I think you might be part koala bear." Someone the other day on the front row was like, turn around, like they were gonna see. But, because it sounds complimentary on the surface, right? But then I think about it, what part of me and what part of the koala? Because if my face looks like a koala bear's ass, not complimentary at all. My apologies to any koala ass-faced Americans in the room today. And technology also gives us a form like Microsoft Word. Also very bossy, right? Lots of free advice. Dear, oh, paperclip pops up. Looks like you're trying to write a letter. You're probably too stupid to do it yourself. Would you like my help? Or, oh, also, your phone, text messaging, right? And I always call it suggestive text, but it's not actually suggestive text. Sometimes my texts are suggestive. It's actually predictive text, not suggestive. Predictive text, like the other day I was typing D-I, and then I was gonna type, I meant to put a D, but then it filled in LDO 3 exclamation points. Which means my phone thinks I typed dildo more than I actually typed did. This is how you can tell when you're about to get unsolicited advice. It often comes in the form of a question. I was going to move to San Francisco, and my friends were all like, Kelly, what will you do if there's an earthquake? I'm going to poo myself like everyone else. Or the other one, and I bet some of you in couples actually played this when you left the house this evening. The game called, Are You Going to Wear That? Right? Because that's an erroneous question. The question isn't, are you going to wear that? Because you're already wearing it. The question should be, are you going to continue to wear that? So a question I get asked a lot, I bet you're thinking it yourself. Are you a man or a woman? And it's a weird question because I think it's kind of apparent. I'm both. Right? But people get upset. People get upset about that. They're like, no, you know, that's awfully greedy of you. You can't have both genders. You can't have both genders now. Apparently these people are from Wisconsin. That's my generic non-accepting person voice. I have to change it when I'm in Minnesota. No, you can't have both genders. You have to pick one. Or haven't you ever heard of gender warming? If you do not pick a gender, we're going to be all out by 2025. You have to pick one. You have to pick one. Or I get this little game people play with me called Sir Ma'am. Sir Ma'am. It's a little bit of a rhetorical question, right? So I'm buying something at the store. They hand it to me, waiting for me to speak. Thank you very much, sir. Ma'am. Sir. Ma'am. Sir. Sir. Ma'am. Sir. And they get more and more anxious. Sir. Ma'am. Sir. Sir. Ma'am. Ma'am. Sir. I'm not inclined to help out with such circumstances. I just say, it's one of the mysteries of modern life, isn't it? The other day I was crossing the road. Not the squirrel time, another time. It's New York, I cross a lot of roads. And this guy yells out his shoulder over me, "Faggot!" I'm like, oh, all right, well this is a teachable moment. This is a teachable moment. Faggot is that's the negative epithet used for male homosexuals, that is men whose primary sexual and emotional attachments are to other men. I am a female, identify as a female, so actually the correct pejorative term for lesbians, that is women who are sexually and emotionally attracted to other women, is dyke. That's actually pejorative. However, because you know that gender presentation and sexual orientation are two different. Dude, where are you going? Hey! It's like, whatever, he started it. or another town, standing there, and this guy rolls down his window. I did it like that, but really I always do it like that, but it's really you have to go like that now, right? Nobody has that. Maybe if I make the noise, like your car note makes that noise. Rolls down the window and yells out, "Fat boy on a diet, don't even try it!" I'm so hurt. Right? Confused? Because that begs a lot of questions, right? Fat boy on a diet, don't even try it. First of all, what is with the rhyming heckles? Had he been waiting his whole life to say that? And if so, how sad? Very sad. And then somebody came up there after me, a gig after I was telling the story, and they're like, "Fat boy on a diet, don't even try it. It's actually 1990. It's word from a 1995 rap song." And I'm like, "Oh, well, that makes perfect sense why he yelled it out the door randomly at me." I completely understand now. So I know if I would like wear slightly different clothes, right? I know that perhaps people would be able to, figure out more about me. But I feel most comfortable in men's clothes, unfortunately, because I'm practically a midget. Most men's clothes fit me like a moomer, right? The other day I said tutu and I was like, oh yeah, different kind of men's clothes. So I either have to go to the thrift store or sometimes I even have to go to, where I buy my clothes sometimes? Right, the boys department, right? Which would be fine if I could just get in and get out. But there's always some helpful salesperson. So I end up having to say things like, yeah, that is a nice shade of blue, but I was thinking of something that didn't have a picture of Spider-Man on it. Did you want me to wear something? I want you to wear something with Spider-Man. I think it would be cute. If I'm wearing a hat with like a picture of a kid skateboarding. I think that the whole joke kind of falls apart based on my actual wardrobe. I need somebody else to dress me for that, I believe. So, yeah, see, that's the problem, right? Like, people can't get my gender right. They can't get my age right. I am really satisfied if I'm just more or less think they've got the approximation of my genus, phylum, and species. Because if I'm dating somebody feminine, nobody ever knows we're on a date. Nobody ever knows we're a couple, right? If I'm holding her hand, they just think like she's my mom taking me back to school after a dental appointment. So I think I'm just going to close with some advice of my own, some unsolicited advice of my own, which is, if you look like me, and there's a few of you who do, 2 at least, do not go whitewater rafting when there is a Cub Scout Jamboree in town.
They're sick. You're sicker than me, that's bad.
What's that?
I said you're sicker than me.
I'm sicker than you. This is a true story. It's not sick, sir. It's just sit down. Ma'am, sir, ma'am. That would be a great thing to do as like a reverse heckle, right? Not even get up and do a set. Just be like, sir, ma'am, sir, ma'am. That would be like the uncomfortable humor. And people start laughing just because they're not sure if you're doing a set or having a seizure. Thank you for that idea. Okay, so I should have known when I showed up at the campgrounds, and as I went by myself to the bathroom, everyone kept asking me, where is your buddy? Where is your buddy? Where's your buddy? It's like, am I on Gilligan's Island? Is it Skipper? So I got through that part, and we got in the boats. And because I'm the world's least sporty lesbian, the minute I was in the boat, 10 yards down, a little wave comes in, knocks me into the water. Now, if you could just imagine, just from here up, floating along, you could maybe see why the Scoutmaster felt like he had to intervene. Now, I don't know if you've ever been rescued when you're not actually drowning. It's a lot of work for both people. And after a rather protracted struggle, in which I thought I was attempting to swim and he was attempting to rescue me, he finally drags me into the boat, right? Long silence ensues. Because then he realized, oh, I haven't rescued a drowning Cub Scout. I've annoyed an adult female. You know what the Boy Scout motto is? Be prepared. He was not prepared for that moment. And you know what I was not prepared for? I ended up for the rest of the 3-hour trip in the boat with those Cub Scouts. And when they thought I wasn't looking, they'd be like to each other, why does he have boobs? Why does he have boobs? He has boobs. Why does he have boobs? Why? What does he have boobs? What does he have boobs? He has boobs. He has boobs. So finally one little kid, he screws up all the courage he had in his little 7th grade heart. And he reaches over and he taps me and he's like, what troop are you from? And I was like, a drag troop, okay, kid? That didn't clear shit up. So, 3 hours later, we're flipping over. The kids aren't rowing because they're trying to figure out why I have boobs, over and over falling. And then finally, we're like within 20 yards of the end of the whitewater rafting trip, and we flip over, and the boat's completely underwater. And this kid starts crying, and he says exactly what you would expect a kid of the 2000s to say. He's like, oh my God, I wish this were just a video game I was playing. And I was like, me too, little man, me too. Thank you very much, I'm Kelli Dunham.